Hi, this is Bea from Sorcery Soap, and today I would like to talk to you about copying. And copying is a big topic some days, and it seems to be a big topic right now in the Sorcery Creations group. And I felt like it would be easier for me to make a video than it would to continue to type everything out and answer everybody's questions. So if you follow this channel, or if you follow me in any capacity, you know that a lot of people like to copy Sorcery Soap creations, and that's fine. That's a really okay thing to do. What's not okay is to build your business around one of my designs. That's a no-no. However, before we go into any of those things, I'm going to give you some alternatives, particularly for the new soap makers or people that are new to soap dough. Here's a couple scenarios. One, you see somebody's work that you like, and you just feel so compelled that you want to copy it and make one for your own. Great. Of course, it's going to be a little different because your hands are different, things are different, circumstances are different. So you copy it, and then you put it up on, let's say, Instagram or Facebook, and it gets tons and tons of information, you get tons of feedback, you get likes and you get comments and all this stuff, and it kind of blows up. And of course it would, because it was a great idea to begin with. But it wasn't your great idea. So you can do two things. You can either acknowledge the fact that you were practicing in soap dough or you copied someone else's work and even tag that person, which makes for a beneficial relationship now or in the future with that person that you admire, or you could choose to completely ignore and take all the credit for yourself. Now, the problem with the second scenario is, if you're in the soap making community, it will come around again to bite you. Because if you saw that original idea, other people saw it too, and they know you didn't do it first. And first isn't always the first isn't always the best thing. It's not always the best. Lots of ideas can be built on. And this isn't about that competition element. This is about bonding and communicating with other people in an honorable way. And I think that piece right there is what keeps getting missed in the soap making community. That's my opinion. So what would I rather do? Act like I'm taking some credit for someone else's idea, which we all know the corporate world does all the time? Or do I want to acknowledge that person, set my own ego aside and my own base desires, and acknowledge that person's original idea, and even open myself up to a relationship that could be positive with that person? Or do I just want to do the other? So those are your choices as far as I'm concerned. Now, if you want to get into copyright issues, if you make, this is a boots on the ground working definition of it. If you make money using someone else's idea, you can get sued. Period, the end. So, particularly if they have proof of originality, and all that takes is a little bit of metadata, pictures, a couple validations that they created it first, and there you go. Now, is somebody going to sue you over one soap? Probably not. But I can tell you this, it doesn't matter. Someone mentioned that you have to change 3 things to avoid that copyright, and that, I was thinking about it today, and I don't think that's true. I haven't looked this up, but I don't think that's true, and I'm going to tell you why. I made a Snoopy soap some years ago. I did not sell that Snoopy soap, by the way. And what my example was, and this is why I'm making this video, what my example was is the cake makers in the world make cakes of Disney and Pixar and all this stuff. And so I asked them many times, how do you do that and not have to get copyright approval? And essentially what it is they don't get caught. Some do, mostly they don't get caught. And here's the other caveat. If you make it for personal use and share it, no capital has been exchanged, no financial capital has been exchanged, you're almost free and clear. Now again, if you get a lot of attention for that same object, you could also garner the attention of the person who holds the copyright or the trademark or anything like that. And so I made a Snoopy soap and I shared it, and I got a ton of grief. Nobody even bothered to ask me if I was going to sell it. They didn't, before they started to attack me, they didn't bother to ask me if I was going to sell it, which I didn't. I gave it away. I think I have 2 bars out of 8 bars, so I gave 6 bars away. And I didn't use it as promotional material, I just gave it away. So kind of lost my train of thought. But anyway, now that's where I'm going with that. So it can be tricky, but you need a working definition of what happens. I'm not a lawyer. Don't take this like as absolute law. It's kept me out of trouble up until now. And it helps me to understand this working definition. I have actually been threatened by a lawyer. I've actually used a lawyer to go after somebody who stole one of my images. So on the second case, I won because I had proof that it was mine. So there's your validation. And the first case, they threatened me to sue me, but I hadn't made any money on it. And they had given me permission. So there you go. I mean, people just don't know. And the point of all this isn't to where do I stand because I don't want to get in trouble. The point to me is, where do I stand so I can build and forge relationships, so I can be a kinder, better, more creative human being in this planet, not so I can avoid getting sued. I mean, if I were to build my business around, let's say, Charles Schultz, Snoopy, or any of the Disney characters, that wouldn't be right. It's not my idea. So when I was a kid, I used to draw all the time, and I read a lot of comic books. And I would copy the comic book images in a sketch pad. And I realized at some point, I don't know if an adult told me this or something, but I realized if I couldn't conjure an image out of my own mind, free from anybody else, although influenced, but still free from anybody else, I wasn't ever going to be an artist in this life. And that was really true because I couldn't just dream up an idea because I didn't know the fundamentals. And that was the real problem. I just copied other people. So my hope is that if you're going to copy anything from me, Sorcery Soap, that you investigate, buy a book, figure out the fundamentals. I have lots of fundamentals in the book, especially The Magic of Soap Dough, which teaches you step by step how to create anything. All the fundamental shapes that you're going to need to create anything from soap dough. And you could use that to go on and create polymer clay things. So that is my hope, and that you open the door, and all my books are written like this, so that it opens the door of your own intuition, your own inspiration, your own creativity. So that door is open forever, and images and ideas and concepts flood in, and then we change the scope and the face of handmade soap. And that is my small little dream that I just shared. Because it's fun, and that's the only reason, just because it's fun. So before this goes too terribly long, I also wanted to point out that I'm going to, and this is how I'm navigating this. You can do whatever you want. I'm trying to model the example that I would like to see more of in the world, which is less hate, more logic, definitely more reason, and no, actually not less hate, no hate. That would be awesome. And letting our egos not run our show anymore. So that gets tricky, and I know that. So anyway, we're going to leave that for another day. But here's my proposition. So now I have this new book out that has 190 soaps in there or whatever, and I'm going to make a video tutorial on every one of those soaps on how to create it. And what will happen is you'll be able to build on each one of those soaps. And so I have a working definition of 190 soaps in my mind, minimum. I'm probably more like 300 soaps that I've made, that only 190 made in the book, or maybe more. I don't know. I have thousands of soaps I've made. But so then you'll have a working definition of, once your fingers go through the process and you see the process, you'll have a video on how to access that. And so then, of course, I would want you to copy those things, and that would be great. Of course, people aren't going to mention me sometimes. But those that do mention me, if I pay attention, if you send me a link or you tell me that you mentioned me, I'll be your supporter. I'll be loyal. So that rates high in my book. So anyway, I have to go because I have to get started on some videos, and I want to help you to the best of my ability, and this is how I'm helping. So if you have any questions, leave them in the link below. Every single time you subscribe or you like this YouTube channel helps me in other ways. I have, so you know, monetarily, this is a storage place for me, and that's why I do it. And the reason I've also now had everything is ported over automatically to my Library TV account, and you can watch there ad-free. And you would think that I'm cutting my nose off to spite my face by doing that and telling you about it, but I find ads annoying. And the only reason I put it up on here with ads is because I hope it gets me more traffic. It won't always, but there's some algorithmic thing that it might get me more traffic if I put ads on versus no ads. And the point is, I'll never be rich from YouTube. I'm not that person. But I can help you in the meantime and use it and leverage the YouTube ability to store my videos and put them up and propagate easily to people. Most people don't know about Library TV. Most people know about YouTube. So it's not about that for me. It's about being able to put it out there as often and as many times as I can, so then if you want to learn something about soap dough and I happen to have a video about it, that you're going to stumble across it. So there we go. So like and subscribe if you want. Follow me over on Library TV, which is pretty awesome. Trying to be on BitChute, but it takes a little bit of work. And soon we're going to have a Patreon account. Anyway, thanks. Have a great day. But here's the other thing too, especially new soap makers or new to soap dough. If you copy something that you feel inclined to do, and you really did it, and you put it out there, and you got all this praise, and you forgot to mention the originator. Just totally slipped your mind. I've done it. Here's what you can do. Please forgive me. No excuses, no nothing. Just write them and say, please forgive me. And if you can do it before you get caught, that's even better. That's nicer. But if you do get caught doing it, you can also offer that apology and say, please forgive me. And then try to do better. And not everybody's going to accept that. And that's just okay. If you know in your heart that you made a mistake, then just learn from it and carry on. That's what I have to say about that.